The subject continues with the life and work and teachings of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But we are discussing a particular subject which concerns all of us, and that is life here on this planet and life hereafter. There was no way for a person to realize that there was a continuity. Once that we see, we find that we are sometimes told that once you are finished on this earth, you are finished forever. Philosophy. And to find out that the meaning of life, the meaning of all that we do on this earth is together destroyed. I mean, what is the use of becoming virtuous and pious? What is the use of becoming tolerant while others usurp your rights if it is going to be dust to dust and no resurrection thereafter? Because if he is going to be of the same fate as you being virtuous and he being vicious, you being kind and he being malicious, you being on the receiving end and he being the wrongdoer, if both of you are going to be dust and nothing else and perish, why should you on earth suffer? So the meaning and the purpose of life on earth perished together with this philosophy. The Prophet has given meaning to this life. This is what I want to say. And meaning to whatever we do by telling us that you are not going to perish, but there is a difference. You see, on this earth, sometimes we suffer simply because we do not ponder and observe. Before I proceed, I am told that there is a congestion there behind. Could you just please come forward to make room for those who have come late? Allahumma salli ala Thank you. Now, he himself used to say, we are just in winter, and soon after this, when all the trees seem without leaves, lifeless, your garden has become lifeless, it will take only two months, 2 weeks rather, when spring sets in, to see that which was totally dead reanimated. In no time you will see the gardens full with leaves, trees full of leaves. You will see the flowers bloom. But you did not expect if you see it as it is now, because it is just as dead as anything. And if anyone came and saw this, he might say that this will never revive. But it takes only a few days and suddenly you find the whole city full of flowers. Where did it come from? The tree which was totally divested of the leaves, the birds had deserted the tree. Now immediately you find life everywhere. That is why the Prophet used to say, these are the ahadith which do not connect or have any connection with namaz or roza. These are ahadith of the Prophet which have direct connection with observation and intellect. إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُ الرَّبِيعَ, the Prophet said, whenever you see spring setting in, إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُ الرَّبِيعَ فَاكْثُرُوا ذِكْرَ النُّشُورِ, when you see that the spring is setting in and that which was dead has again got life into it, try to remember resurrection more often. That means the same way as this became lifeless and then there was life again, the same way there shall be death, and after death there shall be rising again. He told the Arabs then But the Arabs could not reconcile between the two. Today we have this hadith. إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُ الرَّبِيعَ فَاكْثُرُوا ذِكْرَ النُّشُورِ. When you see the spring, remember how we shall all be resurrected, and remember more often. The difference is that all of us sleep. All of us. Once you feel sleepy, there is no one to prevent you. And if you are prevented from sleeping, I think that is the severest torture one can give to anyone. You can deprive a man from food, from drink, he can put up. But if you deprive him of sleep, for some time he might go mad. So we sleep, all of us. Allah in Quran says, Allahu yatawaffal anfus hina mawtiha wallati lam tamut fi manamiha. Allah takes full control of every soul when death occurs. And if death does not occur, then he takes that control during the sleep. Yatawaffa means to take into full control. Yatawaffal anfus hina mawtiha, if it dies. Wallati lam tamut, if it is not to be dead, fi manamiha, then in its sleep. We are in his control every time we sleep. He has given an analogy and a parallelism between death and sleep. Then he gives the difference. فَيُمْسِكُ الَّتِي قَضَى عَلَيْهَا الْمَوْتِ. If death is destined and decreed, then that nafs which has been taken control of is withheld, not to come back. وَيُرْسِلُ الْأُخْرَى إِلَىٰ أَجَلٍ مُسَمَّى. Those who are not destined to die, they are only asleep. Nafs is allowed to go back for a fixed period. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. And in this process there are signs for a community which thinks, Allah says. So when we die, if we are destined to die, if we sleep and we are destined to die, then that nafs cannot come back, because yumsikul lati qada alayha al-maut. He withholds it. If it is only asleep, he allows to go back. But ila ajalim musamma, only for a fixed period. That means if he didn't die tonight, there is one day when he will die. Ila ajalim musamma. So this is what happens, that we do die and we sleep, and the sleep is a sister of death. Only if we... Haven't you seen people sometimes refusing to shut their eyes? I have seen. A friend of mine who was seriously ill, and when he was taken over by sleep, he refused to close his eyes and shut his eyes. So we told him, what happened? Why don't you sleep? He says, if I shut, I'll die. So he is sleepy, he is ill, he must take rest, but he fears death. He doesn't want to wink, feeling that if I shut my eyes like this, I'll die. He doesn't know that you are definitely every night in his control when you die, when you sleep. The only thing is this, that death and approach of death gives us a time of an appraisal of what we have done so far. I said last time that it passes before the eye of the dying person like a strip of film showing what he did. Many people sometimes ask, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to take account of our deeds. Has he kept an accountant? And if he has, how many accountants? The people have been on this planet over last thousands of centuries. And on a day of judgment, which is Yawm al-Qiyamah, he is going to take account of everyone. Even if he employs as many malaika as he wishes, it will take a long time to complete. And has he considered one very important factor that human being can deny and can also justify? A human being is so clever, and it is for that cleverness that it has got an edge over malaika, because the malaika do not know this cleverness. But a human being has an edge over malaika because of that particular bent of intelligence, that it can always justify its wrong deed. And it can also offer many excuses. It can also deny altogether. In Gujarati they say, Masjid ma gayu tu kaun? He can straight away say, Allah, Ya Allah, I never did this. Ghalib said this. Ghalib's mashhur sha'r, couplet, famous is, Pakde jate hain farishton ke likhe par nahaq. We are being arrested because the farishta have written nahaq, without justification. Aadmi koi hamara dame tahrir bhi tha. When the malaika wrote down whatever he wrote, was there a witness on my part? How can I accept it? The thing is this, that people have understood differently, that they think that they are going to be accountable the way we are accountable to each other. Jamaat accountable to the public, business is accountable to the shareholders and directors and things like that, or to the income tax department. That is not the way. The way is very simple, very simple. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Kafa alayka bi nafsika al-yawma hasiba. Today you are an accountant of yourself. The strip will just run before you, within you, and you will see that you lied and you killed and you had done the backbiting, that you usurped, that you, everything you did is before you, and you are the judge and you are the accountant and nobody else. When one becomes an accountant of himself, self-evident standing there, there is no need for anyone to come and deny. There is no denial. Who will deny? When you are your own accountant, your own judge. That will happen. And Quran says, وَجَاءَتْ سَكْرَةُ الْمَوْتِ بِالْحَقِّ ذَلِكَ مَا كُنْتَ مِنْهُ تَحِيدٌ. This intoxication, this ecstasy of death shall come, and that is destined and true. Whether you die by accident, whether you die by immediate heart arrest, whether you die with prolonged illness, whether you die drowning, whether you die burning, whichever way we die, there is an ecstasy of death which comes, which is sakaratul maut. ذَلِكَ مَا كُنْتَ مِنْهُ تَحِيدٌ. It was this moment you were trying to escape from. The Quran says, فَكَشَفْنَا عَنْكَ غِطَاءَكَ. We are going to lift all the veils from your eyes. فَبَصَرُكَ الْيَوْمَ حَدِيدٌ. Your eyes today is going to be very sharp. You shall see what you tried to forget. So that is the time when actually, apart from this, human being knows what is the sum total of my life. When Imam Ali alayhi salam on 20th of Ramadan or 19th, after being hit by the sword of Ibn Muljim, the first declaration made by him was, Fuztu bi Rabbil Kaaba. I have been successful in my life. I swear by the God of Kaaba, by God of Kaaba. That means he did not tell anything. It was a message to us. He did not cry for someone to go and arrest or apprehend the attacker. He didn't say that I have been hit and therefore come and help me. He didn't call out for a help. What he said was, Fuztu bi Rabbil Kaaba. I swear and take oath by the Lord of Kaaba that I have been a successful liver. My life has been successful. And that gives us an inkling that Ali ibn Abi Talib Islam was trying to tell us that it is very important the way you live on earth, so that you may face what is coming next. Many of you may have an experience, but people like us in this particular infamous profession of being mullah have such experiences which are singular, sometimes none else can have. Sometimes we are called at a deathbed of a person who refuses to die, although he should. You know what I mean? Speechless, sightless, but doesn't want to die. Then of course the family is disturbed. Doctor says as long as the heartbeat is there, because he is an old man, not made in Japan,